Welcome to the first video of this school year. Tonight's video is to give you a little sample of the writer's notebook, which is something we're going to begin using in class when I see you tomorrow. This is the cover page of my video. The title is The Writer's Notebook. And we're going to talk about why it is the most important tool you have in my classroom as a reader and a writer. I know that you started to use it with Ms. Norville last year and didn't really get a feel for it. We're going to begin on the second day of school, and you're going to use it until the last day of school. This is a quote from Lucy Calkins, and Lucy Calkins is a writer, and she's an educator, and she's someone whose practice I respect very much. She says, literacy, which is reading and writing, is inseparable from living. If we're going to address topics of great significance, and that's really important, that great significance piece, and write with our hearts and our souls, our classroom must be filled with our voices and our lives, which should give you the hint that I want you to be more than just a student in my room this year. I expect you to be a person with a life. I expect you to address topics of great significance, and I expect you to write with your heart and your soul in my classroom. I expect what we hear in our classroom to be your voices and your lives. And the best ideas are living inside of you, not me. And that means I'm not going to assign you a topic this year. Your challenge as a student in my room is to dig out those best ideas that live deep down inside of you if you're going to do the best writing you can do. And that's my expectation for you. It isn't enough to do the writing as a student in class once a day. I expect you to see yourselves as literate citizens. That means you're people who read and write for a purpose. And if this is what I expect of you every day, then I need to give you the tools to help this happen. And one of the biggest, most important tools I can give you is your writer's notebook. Keeping a notebook is going to make you begin to pay attention and think about things. It's going to help you begin to notice, to think about what's important to you, to listen more carefully, to begin to collect those bits and pieces that make you who you are, those things you think about, those things you wonder about. It's a place to play with language. It's a place to just listen to yourself. Your writer's notebook lets you bring your lives and what matters to you into my classroom. That's what drives my language arts class this year. Not just SOLs, but who you are, how you got that way, and what's important to you to explore further. And these are two pictures from previous students' writers' notebooks. You can take a minute and look at them. Writer's notebook has a lot of purposes, and here are just a few. We're going to define more as we work together through the year. Most importantly, your writer's notebook is a place to react. Don Murray, another writer whose opinion I value, says that writers react. Most of us just walk through our lives, things happen and we think, oh, okay, or we don't even notice. People who are writers react, and this is important. You cannot be passive in my classroom, or you're going to be very unsuccessful. I expect you to keep a writer's notebook because I want you to become a more active learner. I want you to react to things in your world. I want you to make personal connections to the world and to the work that we're doing in my class. Again, not just as a student whose brain I'm filling, but I want you to be a member of my community in my classroom and a community of our school and the community that you live in. And the writer's notebook is a place where you can do that safely. No grades, no correction, no worrying about grammar or spelling. Secondly, your writer's notebook is a place to experiment. Good writing doesn't just spring full-blown. Good writing is like a seed, and we'll talk about this all across the year. You have to grow it. You have to nurture it. You have to feed it with ideas and questions and wonderings. And your writer's notebook is a place to do that safely. If you're going to grow as a writer and a thinker, you're going to have to become comfortable fooling around with ideas, with words, with images, with phrases, in a place that you know is safe, in a place that you know is judgment-free. The third thing a writer's notebook is, it's a place for you to record. It's a place for you to record or to write down what are the things that move you. What are the things that make you angry, make you happy, make you sad, worry you? What matters to you? What do you care about? Bits of language you overhear, things you hear that you just like the way they sound, tongue twisters, riddles, funny expressions. It's a place to make lists. And you'll see after, when you come to class tomorrow, my notebook is full of lists, all kinds of lists. It's a place to ask questions. What do you wonder about? It's a place to record those odd facts. I think one of the oddest facts I ever wrote down in one of my notebooks was that there was a man in Scotland who ate an entire school bus. I just thought that was odd, and I wrote it down. It's a place for you to record lines you love from other authors. And you'll see in class tomorrow, my notebook is full of stuff I steal from other authors. There are people out there who use words and ideas better than I do, and I copy their stuff so that they can teach me how to do it. And it's a place for memories, things you remember, things you wish you remembered. It's a place to store overheard talk, gossip, starts of stories, expressions, funny ways of saying things. It's a place for lyrics from songs and lines from poems. It's a place for pictures you take and pictures you find and sketches you draw. It's a place to write about the things that you're afraid of. It's a place to write about the things you dream about, both your hopes for yourself in the future and the things that fling through your night at night when you think you're asleep. And most of all, your writer's notebook is a place for bad writing. Every single one of you has the right to write badly before I can expect you to write well. And your writer's notebook is the place for you to do that not so good writing, because it's the stuff you need to do before you can write the good stuff. There aren't very many rules for writer's notebook, just 4, and I'm very serious about them. First, it must be in a composition notebook. That's one with a black and white cover and the sewn-in pages. Although if it's got something besides black and white on the cover, I don't care. What I care about is that the pages are sewn in. No spiral-bound notebooks. You must have your writer's notebook with you every day in class. Don't come to class without it. You must date and label every entry you make. So if you put an entry in school, it's going to be 9, 12, 13, first block. And if you write an entry on the bus, it's going to be 9, 12, 13 on the bus. So you can keep track of where your thinking happens. And finally, I expect you to respect other people's privacy when it comes to their notebooks. And I'm not playing about this. And what this means is, if you don't read somebody else's notebook without permission, even if you find it in the hall or left in somebody else's classroom. If you find a writer's notebook, I expect you to bring it to me without reading it. If you leave it in my notebook, I'm going to put it behind my desk, and you're going to have to come and ask me for it. I am very, very serious about this. The writer's notebook requires trust, and I expect you to show that trust to your peers, just like I will. This is a poem I found, and I just really liked it. It's called It's a Place. Why am I keeping this notebook? Because it's a place where I can keep track of my life. It's a place where I can observe closely and where I can store little pieces of strength. It's a place where I can keep the elements of life, lightning, fire, ice, time, and space, and writing, poetry, words, eyes. It's a place where tales weave. All in all, it's a place for me. Review this video. You're going to take notes on a right-hand page in your notebook about the elements of a writer's notebook. And on the opposite page, the left-hand page, you are going to make some kind of an entry that helps make the information your own. The first thing you're going to do is write a summary of what you learned. You're going to write a question you have. It could be a factual question, what are you wondering about? Or it could be a question you just are wondering about. It could be a response to this poem. When I see you in class, we're going to briefly go over what you watched on the video, and then we're going to begin making our first entry in our writer's notebook. Have a good evening, and I will see you in class tomorrow.